started. How's everybody doing? Oh, wait one sec. All right. Let me know if I'm too loud or quiet. I haven't. I have a new microphone, which is not great actually, but it was cheap, so that's what you get. Um, I'm not using the mic on these headphones anymore. Uh, and for videos for a while now, I've been recording using my phone's microphone, which is much better. And I probably will continue to do that because this mic I have now, every so often, it has like a pop noise. But other than that, it's better than my headset microphone, so I will use this. All right, enough of that out of the way. Oh, mic all good, great. Waiting for another stream, haha. Yep, let's do it. Let's get right into it. This is the wildcard results. It was an interesting day. Interesting. Yep, hey, Funi. Hey, nice. Welcome back, welcome back. Just getting started. So, these are all the wildcard results, and it was pretty much as expected for me, personally. Because this was the 8 predictions I had. I didn't get every series score right. In fact, I forgot these were best of 7s in my predictions video, so I didn't get any of the series score correct, but I had all the outcomes right. So, hey Daniel. But yeah, Twisted Minds put on a show. They sure did. They sure did. I knew they would beat Pioneers, or I felt pretty confident, but I really thought it would be closer. I thought it would be much closer. So it's good for them. Good on them. And we can start off talking about that one. Yeah, Twisted Mind, a 4-1 over Kansas City Pioneers, which was really good for game differential, because game differential matters so much in this Swiss bracket that I thought 4-1, because that happened pretty early on, and I was checking the scores as it went on. I thought a 4-1 early on would be great. Like I thought that would be great game differential. It turns out a lot of teams swept, so it didn't end up being as good. Like, we'll see, where did it put them? So put them at 6th, still below Crew on, I'm assuming, initial seeding. So not bad at all, but I thought it would be much better. But hopefully it'll help them out more in future rounds, because the game differential always stays with you as you go through the Swiss. But yeah, a great win, a good game differential, and now they'll be playing Moist. A much tougher matchup. I mean, I will, yeah, much tougher. I mean, I won't mince words here. I think they're underdogs now in their next matchup, but still winnable. It's not like completely out of it. Yes. Oh, yeah. Oh, I watched it, Daniel. Yep. That, I'm going to be putting out another video about news, because I recently did a news flash. If you haven't seen it, go watch that. And I didn't expect to do a second news flash so soon, but there is a lot of news with FaZe Clan, also with game G1 Gamers First. I can just talk about it on stream, but there will be a video about it, but that's okay. I'll talk about it twice. So Roldis is no longer coach at FaZe. Now they have Chrome, which is still a good coach, but you don't want to change coaches so close to Worlds. And then G1, who played today, their team did anyway, isn't paying the players. The org is not paying the players. So drama of 2 different varieties, both bad. And yeah, the fact that Roldis put out that 18-minute video, which I got to watch before he took it down, is crazy. There are places you can watch it. Obviously, people took it and downloaded it and stuff, so it's still out there. I think. Oh yeah. Okay, Funi, if you haven't heard this, Roldis put out an 18-minute video where he went really in depth. Coaches talk about stuff. Oh yeah, G1 players aren't getting paid. Yes. I don't know if I'm going to pull up the tweet, because then I have to open Twitter, and who knows what would be up there. But yeah, by Mateos, who is either their coach or their manager. I think he's their manager. You know, he's not listed here, but by Mateos is like a notable Rocket League person, and he tweeted about it. Maybe it's underscore. Let's find it. It's Mateos. There were no page names. Anyway, somebody to do something with G1. Let me check. Here we go. Substitute. Okay, this guy, by Mateos, who is, what even is he? A substitute for G1? He used to be. They haven't been paying. Oh, he coached him before. Yes. Oh, Chrome were. Yes. Yes. I'm on two different wavelengths here. Sipical was coached by Chrome on Space Station for over a year, so I think it's a good pickup. I don't think they should have dropped Roldiz even after what I watched in the video. But if you're gonna replace a coach before Worlds, I think Chrome is one of the best. He probably, not even probably, I'll just say it, he was the best free agent coach available. The best free agent coach. So they made a good catch on getting him. And there are rumors that FaZe might pull out of Rocket League. That's just rumors. We don't know for sure. If they stay in Rocket League, I hope they keep Chrome as a coach. I think that's a good option. Sip was considering retirement. Yeah. I don't know if Sipical will stay. After hearing from what Roldiz says, he might have announced Sipical's retirement early. Although he also made it sound like Sipical did not want to retire. He just has the mentality of someone that wants to retire. Yeah. Yeah. I know people have different opinions about that whole thing with Roldiz. I'm definitely of the opinion that although it's never good to give up, and because he owned up to that, he kind of stopped caring. It's never good to do that. I think we can all understand why Roldiz gave up, because as a coach, you can only have so much impact if your players aren't giving their all. Because when they give their all, I feel like you can have a lot of impact with the way you help them do better. But if they're not trying, then your impact is like, not only are they not giving it all, it's like your effect on them is lowered. So anyway, just a tough time for Roldiz. Tough time for the team. I hope they all succeed, all four of them. You know, Roldiz, whatever he does next, he's still on first touch, all that. Anyway, and the team, we'll see what they do. But so let's get back to G1, because that's kind of the more bigger. Oh, I realize you can't even see the photo of this guy's photo. It doesn't matter. If you look up his... Oh, there we go. Okay. My stream's delayed a bit. Okay. So, By Mateos, he is a Spanish rugby player, but he was the sub for G1. Sorry. He's been with the org for a bit, apparently. And he tweeted out that G1 has not been paying their players since March. So, it's not just that they're not paying. It's been 5 months? 5 months of not paying their players. That's bad. And it gets worse. And I'll delve more into this in my video. Not to put this on a higher pedestal necessarily than players, but something equally bad is that G1, that same organization, not only are they not paying their players, but they took on a women's league, the Women's Carball League, the premier women's esport league in Rocket League, and they haven't paid out any of the prize money. Any of it since they took over. So it's just really bad. G1, I'm going to go into not depth, but talk about that in my video. So watch out for a video sometime tomorrow about that and the Roldiz situation. Just a brief overview because it'll be a news flash. I might do a longer video about the G1 situation. Probably not the FaZe though, because FaZe it's just drama. Better covered by a quick video because I don't want to wade into that. Let's see. That stream's also good, so let's talk about it. If you guys want to talk about FaZe, let me open up FaZe. Okay, let's see chat here. The dad. Oh man. Yeah, so much we calling gamers first. Yeah, gamer. Yeah, get first gamers later. Very true. Very true. If FK's dad probably threatened him. That's a whole different thing. I definitely don't want to rumor mill about First Killer's dad, but it's not, rumor milling to say that Roldiz talked about First Killer's dad in that video, which is still floating around the internet. So if you want to see what Roldiz thinks about First Killer's dad, watch like the last 5 minutes of that video. Yeah. I think if anyone asked him to take it down, well, this is rumor. This is complete speculation. I don't like drama, but I'll just say it. I think if someone was asking him to take it down, because he took down the video, obviously, after he put it up, Roldiz, I mean, it might have been First Killer's dad that asked him to take it down, but that's just pure speculation. We really don't know who asked him to take it down. But yep. All right. I think that's enough about FaZe, but yeah. New coach Chrome. And then G1. So enough about the news. It's interesting news, but we're here to talk about the wild card. So drama is good content, but I don't want to poach on all that. And I know Roldiz doesn't want any hate to the players. He made that very clear. he took some of the blame. He just was also talking about how the players have some of the blame. So we'll leave it at that. I think all sides could have handled it better. Whether or not it's equal blame, that's up to you guys to decide. All right, moving on to the wild card. Back to it. And we were talking about Twisted Minds. Let's watch. None of the games were particularly close at the end except the overtime, but KCP won the overtime, so it's not even... There were a lot of moments at overtime. We'll watch highlights of it. There are other series that have better highlights. Especially, I'll just say, the Space Station Secret had a highlight fest on both teams. But no. You know what? Let's watch a little bit of each one. So let's open up Game 5 and try and find a good Twisted Minds goal. Which, speaking of that, I don't have any music in the background of this stream because the last stream, some of the music got copyright claimed. So I need to figure out a better... Before the next time I stream, I'll figure out some background music for you guys. Just a playlist that won't get struck. Because there's some Rocket League music you're allowed to play on stream, and I just got to get a correct list of that. Like the ones I use in my videos are not copyright. Anyway, passing plays. Yep. All right, let's get into it.
So back to the drawing board. The drawing board is...
Hopefully this audio is
Don't
coming
get me wrong,
through.
It's only round 1 of Swiss, but you do want to get off to a winning
One
start. Build that
second,
momentum,
I can
because
figure that out.
before you know it, you can be right out of there and into the main event. SMW, as we said, they got a mini timeout off the break. His scrub has to help out Banana Head, gets a good 50.
All right, I think this is about right.
Getting that early boost, getting that early control. That's
Let me know if it's not.
SMW's car as well on that chance gets completely built different. It was so strong, it barely moved.
Maybe I'll make it a little bit
By
quieter.
two-player scrub now. On that way back, he gets demoed and Stenzo with a long shot.
Okay,
Secures number 1.
let's watch this back a bit.
To help out Banana Head, gets a good 50 to
Cut
the
out.
corner.
We don't need to see Twitch chat.
Grabbing that right out of there and into...
Okay, so he scored 1 goal early. I'm not going to watch every single, like this entire game, but this is a good series to watch back because I think Twisted Minds surprised a lot of people that didn't think Mina was deep. Now, this one series isn't definitive proof, right? But it's more ammo that at least... And this is barring into opinion, but like the evidence is here, you know, some evidence, starting of it, that Mina has gotten deeper than OCE. I don't want to say it like that because I personally think that Ground Zero might be the better squad than KCP and they're not here. But I think, so actually, you know what? No, that's fair to say because then Pioneers would be like the 3rd best team in OCE currently, and this is Mina, Middle East's 3rd best team currently. I think Middle East is a little deeper than OCE right now. So if they don't get a second major spot next year, I'll just go nuts. But and I mean, a lot of people think they deserve more than 2. They definitely could if they expand. I think if they keep it at 16 teams in the major, I don't see how you fit 3 Mina teams in. But I think that Mina is very competitive, much deeper than they used to be last season. I think they're much deeper now. Alright, I meant to talk about the goal, but I just kind of skipped past me, so let's see the next goal, and then we'll just do a minor bit of analysis on it. Maybe I'll skip ahead. I don't want to spend too much time. Alright, there we go. As I'm searching for it, it happens. So let's see what happens here. It's probably just an SMW. Nope. Venom's getting a bump, and then he just fakes. I forgot about this. It's the fake. It was an amazing fake. Like look at this fake. I mean, he threatens the shot, but then he just doesn't use the flip reset. Like, he gets the flip. It's just a fake. They got in their heads, and that's a good example of how they got in their heads. Because I think, not to be mean to KCP, still a good team. I think they're better than, they're not gonna, you know, go 0-3 or anything. They're gonna get at least 1 win, KCP. But there are better teams than KCP that would have saved that. They wouldn't have been faked out. So I think Twisted Minds got in their head. It wasn't a complete stomp. It wasn't a shutout. Like, Pioneers were scoring goals, but Twisted Minds were clearly, I think they scored like 13 goals to 3. Pretty definitive stomp. 2 tilted? They did get tilted. Yeah, I agree with that. Oh yeah. Okay, fun fact about the passing plays. I was going to bring this up, and I'll skip to it right now. Sorry to cut off the series. Some highlight goals from Twisted Minds there. But not to cut off the series, but on the note of passing plays, do you know who I had as a passer in my fantasy team? That's right. I had Senzo, and that was a good choice. Now, based on what happened today, maybe he would have fit better in defense, but I don't mind having him in midfield at all. He got 0.8 assists a game, which is really good if it stays that high. Like if that's the end of the tournament, that's high. Turk has a higher right now, but Senzo did good on the passing. So like he got almost an assist a game. It was crazy. The whole team was doing good with passes, but I was glad Senzo turned out better, because when I picked out my fantasy players, and if you watch that video, I was worried Senzo would be the weakest of the 6, but I wanted to leave him in just because I've been a fan since he subbed in at the fall major last year. But anyway, yeah, so there was some good passing plays from Twisted Minds. And especially SMW is just insane. I wanna see the stats on SMW, because I heard some people still hyping up Venom, and Venom played very well. Obviously, you don't win the way Twisted Minds won if not all players are clicking. But even though all 3 were clicking, I thought SMW is clear. So let's see. Yeah, I mean, yeah, and Venom 100 score behind, scoring a lot of goals, but like Senzo, for example, would double the saves, so Senzo had higher score a game. I think SMW is the big shout. He just played very well. And I hadn't looked at this. Poor series from Banana Head. Stats aren't everything, but that's pretty poor. And Hunter with 0 goals and 0 assists. Ouch, a game. But that means the whole series they had 0. That's ouch. No goals from Banana Head. But they only had 3 goals, actually, now that I think about it. So it kind of makes sense if you don't score everything. Yeah. That's a pretty decisive stomp. But part of it, you can chalk it up to the shooting percentage. They looked off. I actually forgot. Wait, I almost forgot. Somebody, I forget which player. It might have been Banana Head. But there was a bunch of memes on the subreddit live thread about the KCP players missing open nets. I forgot about that. It really was a shooting percentage difference in part. Like, Twisted Minds would have won, but there would have been more games taken by KCP if they just hit their shots. They just weren't hitting shots. I forgot about that. So it's definitely a little bit of, like I said, Twisted Minds performed pretty much what I expected. I expected them to be a good team. They played well, good. Whereas Pioneers played worse than everyone. Even I expected them to play a little better. So, yeah, that's just a really poor shooting percentage, and that was the difference. Because you can look at the shot difference, right? Twisted Minds were putting on 10 shots a game compared to 7, and honestly, that's a good sign of like the time they spent. I'm assuming anyway. I believe that's about accurate about offensive time. So KCP were spending a lot of time on offense, less than Twisted Minds, but a decent chunk of time on offense. They just weren't scoring, and yeah. So I would definitely say that Twisted Minds would have won either way, but if you up the shooting percentage, Pioneers would have hung a little bit closer. So, all right, well, let's move on to Complexity and Valiant. This one was interesting. Welcome, by the way, to anyone that's new into the chat. I've realized we've been live a while. We got like 5 viewers. So welcome on in. We're talking about the wild card. And we went through one series. Now we'll talk about Complexity Valiant. Hunter was nervous. Yeah, they all got nervous towards the end. This one there's a lot less to talk about. It was a sweep. I didn't watch this. I didn't even watch the highlights of this like I got to do with Twisted Minds, because I don't know, I just didn't look at it after, and I was keeping up with the score, but I just didn't keep up with the actual gameplay. So it looked like the closest game was match 1. I'm going to assume it was match 1 jitters from Complexity, but let's watch a little bit, because Valiant scored. I mean, honestly, I know that they won a series last Worlds, Orlando Pirates. I mean, one of the SSA teams, but I think SSA is still so far behind that Valiant even scoring goals on Complexity is a success, because Complexity is one of the best teams in the wildcard. So if they're scoring some goals, that's a good sign that maybe they take a game against a weaker team. We'll see what happens.
For them, for Valiant, this can be played. Take it.
Oh, there was a pause. Let's skip over this.
Any players in defense when Complexity are attacking. This is not that far forward.
I just want to see the Valiant goals.
Raisebill's double tap there. He knows
Oh, Valiant had the lead.
player
Okay, wait. Let's watch
to
this.
get 50-50s.
Valiant
Really running
took the
dry on
lead.
boost.
That's
Got
interesting.
plenty, actually trying to outplay CRR. No, we're just gonna have to wait and see what player from Valiant is gonna step up. Who's going to be comfortable? They all do look very comfortable.
It's just, wow. It's just a speedy shot. This is like a poor touch from Razebull. Sorry, AJG. Yeah. A poor touch from AJG. He just hit it too far ahead.
AJG tried to help him. No way.
But still, man, I mean, that's good on Valiant for scoring some goals. It was a sweep. It wasn't a close series, but it's still respectable, you know, to come in and not just lie over and get, you know, perfect sweat. So good on Valiant. And we'll watch. We don't want to leave Complexity unrepresented, so let's watch their goal. I know they score a goal pretty quickly here, so let's watch that.
Just 50-50, no nonsense from these guys.
Is it the bull? No, it's AJG. Nice. Button assist from Razebull. I mean, I think I talked about it in my CRR player ranking a little bit, but I think actually, what am I saying? I even did power rankings. I think Complexity is one of the best teams and favored to make playoffs. So they should breeze through wildcard. So we'll see how they do. We'll see how they do. But it's definitely a bit of a stomp. Not as bad, not the worst series of the wild card. We'll get into that. The other Sub-Saharan African team had a little bit worse of a stomp. So let's talk about Oxygen Power though. I think this was the first one where there was a decent chunk of people that would have predicted Power. So both of these, like I said, this one was kind of a toss-up, but like I think more people predicted Twisted Mind, so it wasn't that crazy. This one was completely as expected. This one, although Oxygen were the favorites, I think there was a sizable chunk that thought Power could take them down. Because Oxygen looked really weak this split. And I know I talked down on G1 and how bad I thought G1 was going to be at this World Championship. But that was because of the kicking Oli situation where Oli was off the team and then he's back on. And now we know they're having money problems on the back of it. So I always knew G1 might struggle at Worlds, which it's not over yet, but anyway, a day one struggle. Oxygen, on the other hand, they actually did worse than G1 in the spring split. That said, I think they're all better on LAN. This is part of that, showing, part of that. Also, potentially Cruise better than Power. Who's to say for sure? But yeah, it's definitely a solid showing from Oxygen to nip it before it got to a Game 7. Ah, yes. The funny thing for Complexity is they kind of controlled their fate to make main events. They played Rule 1 in the Spring Major, and I forget at what stage of lowers, but it was early enough in lowers that if Complexity had beat Rule 1, they would be in the main event. So at least we can say, Complexity held their fate in their hands, and they lost. So they easily could have been. No offense to Ninjas in Pajamas, who definitely deserve to be top 16, which is what you earn by being in that top 8, and making the main event. I do think Complexity is better than Ninjas in Pajamas, but of course Ninjas in Pajamas earned that spot, so I don't want to talk down on them. And of course, I still think they deserve top 16, so it's not even like they've gotten any further than they deserve. So definitely, though, I think Complexity is a tad stronger, so should have made it, but they didn't. And let's move on. We were talking about it. Let's get back to it. Oxygen Power. Like I said, a solid showing from Oxygen. Even though they should be beating Power, it's still good to do it, to get the job done. Oh yeah. They definitely, Moist Ninja Pajamas could happen. It could. I want to see, do I watch any of these back? Maybe we watch the overtimes. So game 2, yeah, they're both short. We're going to watch both the overtimes. So game 2 and game 4. Let me open game 2. Whoops.
At opening game, it was all Archie and Ixa.
Still,
well, offensively.
I mean, again, best of 7, still plenty of time.
Of course.
But, yeah, this one.
Oh, no. I don't want to read.
Down to how teams are holding on to that possession. what
But let's see.
Warriors got there at the last moment.
Actually, let's back this up and watch.
Ixo in the air.
Oh wow, wait. There was a late score.
We're approaching on that final 20 seconds. Field. Oh, Fever with the miss there. Amphis a little late on the follow-up. But Fever is still able to keep this ball in play. Power want to keep this in the blue half. We're approaching on that final 20 seconds. They understand it's been a one-goal game, not trying to let that go. But
let's see this here.
Archie trying to force the issue.
Power had it in their
Around
hands.
the power net, but nothing through yet here in game 2. 7 seconds
Ouch.
remain. Last push now for OXG. Archie for Ixo to tie it with 2 seconds.
That's Power should have won
7
this.
seconds.
Well, let's back it up a bit. So, let's see here. You almost concede, but you solid defense. You hit it onto the other side of the field, and then Fever gets a little too aggressive with it. But there's 2 people back. It's just a miss, yeah. And Ixo doesn't miss.
And they made it work in the final seconds. Good control from Archie. Puts it right on the
A good
nose
pass,
of Ixo
actually.
in
You know
the
what?
air,
I'll say
and
it.
he
I'll
puts
say it.
where Power
It was a
is.
good passing
2
play that
seconds left.
Power didn't expect.
Oxygen in form, and
So,
we got a
I take
tied
it back.
up
I
game.
take it back. It was definitely a good passing play.
Surely overtime looming, but that got in the
Did
air.
anyone have a
It's an
scoring opportunity?
and
Oh, Power did.
Home, and finally Jorius got there at the last moment. Fever
That
now
could have been a
send
goal
it
there,
across. Ixo's gotta bring
but
this
it
to ground. He
wasn't.
will, and we go to OT now in
Now
game
it was
2.
an OT.
He
He got 20,000
that ball,
points on
making
them.
sure,
Ah,
okay,
rough.
we are
They
not
could have
letting
won
this
it.
get
It was
out
one
of
of the,
break.
obviously it was one of the
That
closest
being
series of the
said,
day.
Power
There were no
threw
game
off
7s, so
kickoffs really fast. They do have those
this one
short
was
bursts.
obviously both the
Zero
game
boost,
6s
but he's just
could have been
buying
game
some
7s,
time.
but this one
Just
could have
on
been a game
those
7.
rotations.
Just
He'll
this
have to go
series,
forward
I mean
back
Power,
and
just
he's
this
gonna
game
slow
I
down.
should say, in the series,
Ixo
Power should have won.
Ixo recognizes
They
that,
were leading
comes
with like
through,
6
tries to
seconds and they
keep the play
conceded.
alive, but
So,
when overtime starts like this, you got to make sure you have everybody there. If Archie had more boost, he would have been able to finish
how
this
do
game too,
Power
but we're
concede
still
from
playing
this?
on.
Really? That's it?
Got it to Jorius.
They, I mean,
And
that's,
Jorius
they
scores
threw
it.
that. They
Have
threw this
everybody
game.
there. If Archie
Through
had more
this,
boost, he would have been able to finish this game
I don't
too,
want to
but
be
we're still
mean to
playing on.
Fever, but
Let's
that,
play alive.
it's not even Fever's fault, actually. Let's watch this
Overtime
back.
starts
So,
like this, you gotta make sure you have
Fever
everybody
has to
there.
50
If Archie
this.
had more boost,
He kind of
would have
has
been
to
able
50
finish
it.
this game too,
But
we're still
Amphis
playing
is
on.
pushed way too close when Torsos isn't back yet. I'm going to go back a little further and see why is Torsos out of the play.
Ixo recognizes that, comes through, tries to keep the play
Let's see.
alive, but
Torsos challenges this ball,
overtime starts
and
like
he
this,
gets
you gotta make
flown
sure
on
you
the
have
other side of the
everybody there.
field.
If
So
Archie
that's
had
why
more
he's
boost,
out of the
he would've
play.
been able to finish this
Amphis
game
just
too,
double
but
committed.
we're still
That,
playing on.
I guess that's why they conceded.
Got it to
Yeah.
Jorius.
So,
And Jorius scores
it was a
his
bad
fourth
50 from
overtime
Fever, but
land
the
goal
real
to give
killer was
Oxygen a
Amphis
2-0
double committing.
lead.
And he realizes, he realized too late. So, alright, sorry, didn't mean to overanalyze it. I am by far from an RLCS expert, but interesting to me. Don't want to have too many of these tabs open. And now, let's watch the Power overtime win, just to see they did have some success. And these game wins really do matter, I want to mention. It put Power as the #1 seed, so now they face Valiant, which is huge. Like, Power's pretty much guaranteed, not to, you know, talk down to Valiant, but Power's pretty much guaranteed a win there. So it's very good for them that they got these 2 game wins. An analyst, nah. But I watch enough Rocket League that if I couldn't talk about it, something would be wrong. Oh, thanks for saying that. I don't think I am anywhere close to that. I will say, I think it'd be easier to be on the desk, because I think I could prep my way into not sounding like I know nothing, but definitely not casting. That's not my forte. All right, let's open up game 4. Maybe I already did. I forgot. Nope.
He had so many more opportunities. They are a much more lethal
Skip
squad
ahead.
when he's on the attack. And Amphis, of course,
Did I
and
go
he
too far?
almost snuck it by.
I did.
Archie's got his 3rd goal.
All right.
Still just looks
Power score late, so let's watch the score and OT.
And is trying to get it back for his team. He's in the air. Can he beat Jorius? Does get a piece of it. So
anybody who's just got on, we're watching back some of the highlights of the wildcard and just talking results. So Oxygen beat Power 4-2. Good for them, but kind of good for Power to get some good game differential going, even though they lost. And this here is going to be Power winning one of their 2 games in overtime. So spoilers. Good passes.
What a save! Follow from Memphis is good, and
let's break it down. You know, I'm having fun. Let's break it down. So go a little further back because this is like kind of a lot to it. It's really just an extended set of offense. They're looking for passes the whole time. And Amphis is going to look for a pass here. Yeah, they're passing. Every time they touch the ball, they're passing. I want to go back because honestly, this was such a good series of passes. Actually, I didn't realize this was so good. They really did a good set of passes. That shot would have went in if it was a little more powerful. And then I want to kind of see the defender perspective here. Because Ixo got caught out, he couldn't get a better touch than that. And then Archie just missed. But that's a tough read. I mean, let's go back a bit. Archie had to dive earlier. So, look here. Oh, he got bumped. Wait. So this goal goes in part because Archie gets bumped right here. Look at this. Torsos bumped Archie. Yes. That gets lost, even to me, obviously, if I don't break it down, because I didn't know it happened until just then. But Archie got bumped by Torsos, and obviously Amphis scored the goal, and there was the pass from Fever. Like, Fever had a good shot, but just wasn't fast enough, gets saved, but because it was a good shot, it's a bad save, and Amphis taps it in. But Amphis would not have been able to tap it in. The reason Archie missed is because he was out of the play because he got bumped. So this is a three-man play, not just in the passing, but in that bump as well. And that's peak power. If they played like that all the time, they would have beat Oxygen. I just think they had a lot of weaker moments. But it's a good sign for them, you know? If they're having plays like this, yeah, plays like that will get them some wins in Wildcard. So we'll see. I would expect to see Power in that 2-2 round playing for a spot in the main event. So I expect him to be in the mix all the way to the end of Wildcard. We'll see how far they go. And that's enough about Oxygen Power. Just to quickly recap as we do this, we'll go through. Complexity is playing, I meant to do this last round as well. Complexity is playing Oxygen, so the two teams we just broke down, or the team before the teams we just broke down, I should say. That's going to be a spicy one. I do think Complexity is favored, as I mentioned. I think they're going to be top 8 at this event at Worlds. But especially after watching that back, and there were moments when Power was clicking, Oxygen is looking better than I expected to be able to shut that down. So, still underdogs, but, you know, it's closer than I thought it would be because I think Oxygen proved that they still got it. 4-2 Complexity. Yeah, I think that's about where it'll be. But that's what I mean, though, is I think Oxygen will be taking some games. So, if Moist can actually win 4-0. I don't think they'll necessarily sweep Twisted Minds. Not to say they will, but I think that depending on how they the game differential is really going to matter here because Moist and Complexity aren't going to want to play each other. In my opinion, those are the two best teams in the wildcard. By the way, I've said that a few times in videos, but I think Moist and Complexity are strong. So, which of them can escape these games without losing too many? Whoever can escape their series without losing too many games is going to get the better opponent. Probably the winner of Space Station G2 would be the better opponent. But we'll see how it goes. And now let's talk about Power and Valiant, who also got matched. Well, that's wild. So the loser of these matches played each other and the winners played each other. But it's because of those two games, Power got the number one seed of the losing teams. That's not actually a thing. Crew. I do think Crew will make it out of Wildcard, especially their win today. Honestly, the win on day 1, it's not essential to make it out of Wildcard, but it goes a very long way. So yes, I think Crew will. I think they might lose this next match to Falcons, but even if they lose to Falcons, then they're going to be playing one of these teams. They're guaranteed to play one of these 8 teams, and I think Crew are going to be Crew could beat all 8 of these teams because the best of these 8 teams, not just in seeding, but the best in the actuality is Power. So if Power is the toughest foe, and I'm 99%, not 99, but I think Crew are favored 60, 40, 70, 30% to win that series against Power. And I didn't see Team Secret. Darn it. Okay, Team Secret's a little bit of a a twist there because I think they could lose to Team Secret. But broadly speaking, they should win their next match. So basically, you think Secret will make it too, or you want... Yeah. I honestly, not that I want the North American and European teams to lose, but I think it would be very exciting and spicy if we get Falcons, Twisted Minds, Crew, and Team Secret, all 4 of them out of Wildcard. I don't think that's likely, but it is possible. And that would be the spiciest thing going into a main event. And that would probably require definitely G1 not making it, and it would require G2 or SSG not to make it. Because let me do the math here. If we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wait. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I have 5, 6 are guaranteed. And then you count Oxygen, 7. That only leaves 1 spot. So one of G2 or Space Station would miss in that scenario. SSG making top 8, yeah. So, I mean, I'll just say, I think G2 would miss. So, if Team Secret makes it, and Crew makes it, and Twisted Minds, and Falcons, then G2 probably misses. So, we'll see what happens. And actually, we'll talk about that, because that's the very next match, is G2 versus Limitless. I think we got the least information out of G2, because, yeah, they stomped Limitless. But that was so expected that there's really not a lot of info. Same thing for Complexity, but... G2 I have more question marks about, so the fact that they stomped Limitless is good. That's what they needed to do, though. They just took care of business. So I really don't know how they'll play against SSG. This could be land G2 and they start popping off and they make it all the way to top 8 playoffs, but it could also be the G2 of Spring Split that lost to... Who did they lose to? They lost to some poor teams. I don't want to call teams out, but I mean, they're losing to SUP. Game 5 to SUP. Lost to NRG. Not terrible teams, but they just had a bad split by their own standards. So, we'll see. We'll see which G2 comes out tomorrow. But let's talk about it. They did have a good series. I don't want to, undersell it. I'm just calling it taking care of business because of who they were playing, Limitless. Now, Limitless is the number 1 seed out of SSA. It's the team to die for. A player that people have high hopes for. I think he could make it outside of Sub-Saharan Africa. So a good team. And it wasn't a perfect sweep, but it almost was. I mean, they really dominated the games here. Limitless only scored 2 goals, and it was only at the tail end of a series. I watched this game during my lunch break, and I kind of watched... I wish my break had happened when a different series was on because it was so lopsided that it was kind of just boring to watch. It was a good goal fest, so it's nice to watch G2 score a bunch of goals, but it kind of, I want a close match. I want a more exciting match. But people losing hope? Yeah, I'm kind of losing hope. Not because of their play today. I want to just make that clear because I could be easily misconstrued. They played very well today, but it doesn't tell us a lot of info. I don't even think I'm going to watch any of the highlights from today because I think both these teams will get better footage. It'll just have better games in the future. It just was a bad series. A bad series as a viewer to watch. So, yeah, not a lot to talk about. I guess the only thing you could say is Limitless underperformed because some people were saying, oh, maybe they take a game, and they didn't. But even that isn't much of an underperformance because it's not like they were actually expected to guaranteed to take a game. So, yeah, free for Limitless. People in chat were saying that. Oh, don't ignore Twitch chat. Twitch chat. Some people are just trolling, and other people genuinely, it feels like they're not actually watching the games, which they might not be because a lot of people just do it for drops. Just are in there for drops. So. Alrighty. Quickly, we'll talk about who they face. G2's facing Space Station. I just talked about that matchup. I think Space Station's favored, but again, we'll see which G2 comes up. And then in Limitless case, oh yeah, I'll talk about this because we also passed it on KCP. Kansas City Pioneers got Limitless. And now, my question is, who got lucky? Did Limitless get lucky or did KCP get lucky? Because technically, they're both it's better for both of them to face each other now because this has got to be the best non-APAC matchup or non-Sub-Saharan Africa matchup for Limitless. Of all the non-Asia Pacific teams, non-Sub-Saharan African teams, KCP is looking the weakest and Limitless gets them now after getting swept like a bad loss. So I think Limitless got lucky in that regard. But on the same side, KCP had a bad match against Twisted Minds. They lost 4-1 in a series that almost everyone says they should have taken more than one game. Maybe they should have lost, but it should have been closer. Especially because you got to remember, Kansas City Pioneers picked Twisted Minds. They chose to play Twisted Minds. So anyway, all that to say that both these teams play poorly and yet get rewarded with each other in a way. Like, it really is a reward for each other in a way. So Twitch chat wild. 1 goal conceded. The teams are washed. Yep. I can only imagine. Valiant scored the first goal when we watched this back. I bet after that 1 goal, everyone's like, oh, Complexity's going to lose. And then, you know, Complexity sweeps because it's just 1 goal. But anyway, so this will be a really interesting matchup because obviously I don't want to undersell Kansas City Pioneers. They are the favorites. They could sweep this. They probably should sweep it. But of any of the teams, Limitless could be, besides, you know, Asian teams or Sub-Saharan African teams, this is it. This is their game. This is their chance to prove themselves. So we'll see how Limitless does. A lucky matchup for both teams. All right, next up, Crew and G1. And it was a good series. Crew won 4-1, very solid. I think G1's very disappointed with that. Crew was memeing on G1. The org was tweeting out memes about G1. The players made a joke about it on Rizzo's stream. I'm not going to be able to find that clip, but I saw it. So they're just making jokes at G1's expense. And I think one thing that stood out to me in particular is they said G1 with Mark by 8 was the tougher team. They thought Mark by 8 was the better on that team, which is a funny thing to say, but I mean, they're the ones that have played him. They played him both times at the Winter Major and now. So yeah, Elevate G1. Do they play? Oh, wow. I'll talk about that in a moment. That will be very interesting, Funi. Yep. But yeah, this match, it was, I mean, the Crew players popping off like to each other, like fist bumps, all that, man. They were into it. They were into it and they never got out of it, even when G1 like took a timeout, which arguably they took a timeout a tad too late. I know they won that game 3, but yeah. Let's see. Let's just watch game 5. Some skip throughs to the goals.
Looking forward to that. I mean, is that what these players normally do during these tactical timeouts? They just go bottle throw it.
Tanking the game away.
Oh wait, yeah. That's another thing I actually do want to talk about. I forgot about this. I saw this highlight. I saw this. Oli, this is a really minor thing. I don't want to nitpick. On top, SSG. Hey, welcome to the stream, Destiny Reppy. Welcome. I think SSG, I just talked about it since you mentioned it in chat. I'll briefly go back. I get sidetracked easily. I do think they're favored against G2, and obviously once they've gone 2-0, it's pretty good. They should make it through wildcard. So we'll see how they do, though. All right. Look at this.
I'm sure someone's got
He is flipping a water bottle during their timeout.
One more go?
No.
Now, it's just some fun, mild fun. I do not want to make this a drama, but, and he's not wearing G1 uniform. That's a whole different thing, Reppy. I don't know if you've heard, but G1 is not paying their players apparently. And I mean, Oli got dropped officially got dropped and then got picked back up by the team, but we don't know if the org actually picked him back up. So I don't want to get into that, but I'm assuming he doesn't have to wear it because he's not a G1 player anymore. The org isn't paying him. But anyway, what I want to get at is he's flipping water bottles during a critical timeout that his team called. Now, exactly, the comms must be awkward. That's what I'm getting at. Again, it's lighthearted fun. I'm not saying Oli was being like a bad teammate, but if he's flipping water bottles during practice, that means that their coach or their team isn't talking strategy. It's not necessarily an Oli problem, but it might be a whole team problem if they're not talking strategy in their timeouts, to the point that one of the players is flipping a water bottle. Again, I don't want to make a big deal. It's not a mountain out of a molehill, but he's flipping water bottles during what's supposed to be a tactical timeout. So it's interesting. The have fun meta is a real thing, but I don't know if it worked for G1. And if they want to win future series, they might need to take their timeouts a little more serious. Again, not to read too much into it, but anyway, that was what I was thinking. And he didn't land it, yeah. Alright, let's watch some highlights here. G1's so complicated. Oh, is on top part of your name? I just realized that. That's funny. I thought you were typing that with every message. Alright. And he did. He missed the bottle flip. It's disappointing. Let's skip ahead to a goal. And then break it down again. Okay, Cruz scored.
Allowing 10 shots. Now it's Brad out there getting demos. Drops towards the net, and it's open.
A dicey pass. Just they were passing up and down the field. This team as well, Crew, I mean. Look at that. A really good touch by Brad, and then drops. I don't know if that was an intentional miss, but it works out very well as a pass. So, because Atomic thought he had to save it, and then he just runs into the goalpost there.
Him at a horrible angle, pretty much having
Let's skip ahead to another one.
Games of a challenge or a touch.
My org team is more organized than them. Oh no, yeah. Yeah, G1 is a mess, especially, and this will come out in a future video, but I mentioned it earlier on stream, but the fact that they are also running the Women's Carball League and not paying the players the prize money, so it's all a mess. Mess all the way down. Oh yeah, and the team, I mean, I just want to call it that, I'll just pause it for a second. I've kind of predicted that G1 would not, you know, no, I'll leave it running. I predicted this. I mean, obviously, no one could know for sure, so I don't want to say here like I knew. But like, when you kick a player and play with a different person, you're trying out a different player, it's always going to be damaging to your comms. And the three of you, in fact, I've only ever once seen a player, I'll talk about MVPs in a second, I saw your message. The only time I've ever seen a team get back together and somehow be okay was Optic. They kicked Magic Bear and then had to pull him back in when Rise almost transferred to V1. That happened earlier this season. The Rise transfer to V1 fell through, which meant Calm, who was going to play on Optic, went back to V1, and Magic Bear went back to Optic. That's the only time. And Calm back to V1 did not work, by the way. So the only time I've ever seen a team get back together and be okay was Optic. Very rare. Very rare. It takes all three players have to be mature for that to happen. So, and I'm not to say that G1's been immature, but it seems like they don't have what it takes to kind of bounce back from that kick and then come together. Alright, let me go back because I missed the goal from G1. Okay, I will say it also. I think Atomic's the best player on this squad individually, and assuming that he's not the cause for the mental problems, he should find another team next year. Just disband this, find a new team. I think he could do well if he gets picked up by a good squad. Reddles is the best leader? Yeah. I think Reddles is not that he's a bad player, but his leadership qualities is what makes him so valuable. Kind of similar to Apparently Jack. Now, Apparently Jack has been on MVP caliber. This will be a good transfer into talking about the MVPs in a second. Apparently Jack has been MVP caliber this season, but last season, like last year when he was in Europe playing for Dignitas, I felt like he was one of the weaker players on his team, but his leadership is what made him so valuable to his team, even when he's not playing well. It's like you can be the glue player when you're having an off day. Now, obviously, if your off day is every day, that might not work long term. But Reddles does not have off days every day. That's what I mean. Reddles is still a good player. Apparently Jack is still a good player. So if you are a little bit weaker some days, if you're that glue player, you know, it makes up for it. So, and they do not. Atomic is not the glue. He is the striker. He is the flashy goal scorer. So if he can find a glue teammate and another good third, I think Atomic can still be at the top and make events like this next season for sure. And Dorito and Oli can too, but I just mean the three of them. It's not working together. So, but let's actually just talk briefly about the MVPs. I'm not gonna have anything up, so I'll just go back to Worlds and pull up overview. I did put a video out on MVPs, but because I'm trying out this new thing where it's just a news flash, it was intentionally I left my opinions out. So I'll briefly talk about my opinions on MVP. First up, we'll just talk about NA. It's Apparently Jack versus First Killer. I do think Apparently Jack is the better candidate for a season-long MVP, but I think First Killer was right there as another choice. You could have picked either of them. Definitely not crazy that they went with First Killer because he did have very good stats, the best in North America. And so we're getting in, people think Jack was robbed. I do think that, yes, I think that, although I wouldn't call it a robbery, I do think that a season-long award should favor a performance that was more steady throughout a season. And I think Apparently Jack had much higher low points. I think you could argue First Killer had a better high point, but even at First Killer's high point, he didn't win a major. So in some ways, apparently Jack has a better high point. And I think we all can agree that apparently Jack has better low points than First Killer, because First Killer missed the Sprig major. So he did not. He did not make the third major. Jack has a better team around him. That is a good take. I would actually agree 100%, especially after all the recent allegations that Sipical and Mist don't put enough time into the game. They are on low hours, low effort. So you could argue his teammates are poor, but at the end of the day, Rocket League being the team game it is, your teammates are always going to impact your ability. How do I phrase this nicely? Even though it's an individual award, the fact that your teammates impact whether or not you can win an MVP that shouldn't change your vote, in my opinion. I think who they're team with shouldn't affect how good, like, yeah, you're going to look better when you play with better teammates, but if you're that good, if you deserve to be the MVP of your region, find better teammates. That might be a blunt thing to say, but that's my opinion. So, and he won one. Yeah, that's actually the biggest point in Jack's favor. He not only did he win the major, he was the fall major MVP. That's a big deal. That's the only major North America won this season. There are 3, so it's not like there's a lot, but still, that even adds to it. He won one of the only 3 majors, the only North American major team winner, and he was the MVP on his team. And, like, for the major, like the whole major, he was the MVP. So, yeah, I think he should have won, but I don't want to call it a steal or anything, because I do think their First Killer would be that second place in my mind. So. Yeah, and actually, I think it was good. I saw someone put it in the subreddit that they thought of the tiebreaker to make the major as the tiebreaker for MVP. And honestly, that's fine by me. You can even say it that way. I mean, they played a tiebreaker to make the major. Apparently, Jack won for his team, and First Killer didn't. And obviously, it's not like apparently Jack's the only one on his team. Same for FaZe. But at the end of the day, it is a team game, so you can't separate the fact that it's a team game and pick out the best individual. MVP is about being the most valuable to your team, and even if you're better on an individual level, if you're not being valuable and getting those wins, then you don't win. So that's why I would favor apparently Jack. If an EU player won, people said that. I don't think that played into their decision, but who knows? Maybe it did. Maybe it did. I don't think so, but maybe. And you know what's funny is I think Chronic's playing better than apparently Jack right now. But on a season-long award, apparently Jack's been better. Because like I mentioned, he was the fall major MVP. Anyway, I digress. That's my take on it. North America, I won't spend too much time on the rest of these. Europe, I think Batir is the clear choice because the only other team that stuck together the whole season was Liquid. Like Vitality, their best player, Alpha 54, had a poor fall split across the season, I mean. Like, Zen only joined in spring, so he's not even really eligible. Alpha 54, who is eligible, had a poor fall. BDS, Monkey Moon, and Seiko had a poor fall in winter. Rise, although he's played well, wasn't like MVP of the season level, whereas Vatira was, I'd say. And Vatira was MVP of the winter major, I believe. So, same logic as apparently Jack. Then we get into South America. It was Jerfinho of Crew. I think that was a good shout. I think South America was the widest open race. I think you could have picked multiple players. I think some of his teammates, like Brad, could have been chosen. I think Astromic, even though Astromic, you don't think of him as that guy, really, he was the only player on Ninjas in Pajamas who was there the whole season that was very consistent. Bems, I think, joined. Maybe he's been there the whole time, actually. Bems as well. But, you know, pick one of them, either of them. I think Astromic would be the leader character who could have won an MVP. Mata joined late, so he kind of is a little out there to pick because he didn't play in fall. Who else from South America? Because it would have been one of these 3 teams. Team Secret. KV1, that's the one. I think KV1 could have beat Jerfinho. That's actually the only one. Good question, Funi. These are regular season MVPs. So since the regular season is over, Worlds has no impact. At least I believe it's regular season. Now I want to check it out. Actually, if I check out the players, I should be able to see it, right? If it's been updated. Maybe not. No, I guess it's not. I guess it's not regular season. Maybe you're right. It should have been after Worlds. And, okay. Apparently, no, it is regular season. So, I don't know. That's a weird way to phrase it. End of regular season MVPs. But the way I see it is the majors, including the spring major, are part of the regular season and Worlds is postseason. But I could see how you could argue that the majors aren't regular season. Depends on how you frame it. But it's everything up until Worlds is what these were about. And let's briefly finish this off because I don't want to spend too much time. So, South America, maybe I would have favored KV1, but Jorfinho's team had better consistent results. So that's fine. Like, I think that's a good choice as well. Clears, I think that's the correct choice, but a lot of people would have had Rawas over. And I will say it's not all about stats. So just because Clears has better stats doesn't mean that Rawas shouldn't have been an option. So it could have been Rawas, but I don't mind Clears. I would have picked Clears. And I think it had to be a Role 1 player. I think Falcons fell off enough that you kind of have to pick Role 1 because they got top 4 at a major. I mean, big deal. In OCE, Super Lucky is the perfect choice. He is by far the most consistent across all 3 splits. Every other team had a fall off at some point, but he hopped teams and never had a fall off. So, and then in sub SSA, similar thing. To Die For is the best. There's pretty much no argument. He's just the best player on the best team. And then it's funny, in APAC, I think it could have been any of the Elevate players or OSM, and I wouldn't have been too surprised. Maybe I would have been surprised if it was OSM, because Elevate did make 2 of the majors and got a game off Vitality. But still good for Virtuoso to win. This is a good shout. If they were gonna only give MVPs to native players, they wouldn't have given it to Virtuoso. They would have given it to Realize. Because like I was saying, I think it could have been any of the Elevate players. I think Realize has a case. So they gave it to Virtuoso though. So it clearly, that wasn't a limiting factor in picking MVPs. And I think Virtuoso is deserving. So is that everybody? That is. So that's all the MVPs. My brief opinions on it. Yep, MVPs given before. Surprised it wasn't Realized. Me too, just because, like I said, it could have been any of them, and he is the player that's been in APAC. Like, he's an APAC native player. But I love Virtuoso since his Endpoint days, which was a very long time ago. So it's good to see him get the shout. The argument for Realize is a lot of people were saying Virtuoso had higher stats playing in region against some of the weaker teams in APAC, like earlier days in tournaments, not playoffs level. And he's still good in playoffs, but you could argue Realize has been better in the matches that matter the most, especially, for example, at the major. Realize play the best. So, yeah, it could have easily been Realize. But anyway, we'll end that there. Discussion of MVPs. So now let's get back to the wild card. Where were we? We're talking about G1 Crew. I think that we pretty much wrapped up G1 Crew. G1 is the clear, Crew is in the clear, and G1's having problems. If you're gonna look to Crew, just look for them to keep on making passing plays to win as they progress. They have a tough matchup against Falcons. I don't think they're favorites against Falcons, but this might be the closest to 50-50 there is. I think either team could win. Slight edge to Falcons. Next, let's talk about... and then we'll talk about G1 Elevate. So, this one's really interesting because I don't think Elevate is favored to win any of these series, but I think Elevate, if they ever were going to beat a North American or European team, this is their best chance. This might be their best chance for years because G1 is so unorganized, as people are saying in chat. I agree. G1 is such a mess in terms of structure. I mean, I was explaining how one of their players is flipping a water bottle during a tactical timeout, which leads me to question how much tactics are actually going into their timeouts. They're kind of just as much of a mess, yet still solid as they can be. Like, it's not at the level where G1 should quit. I think they should keep trying to win games in this wildcard, go as far as they can. But given that they're pretty much as close as you could be to like a complete mess without being one, I think this is Elevate's best chance. 3 separate players playing is a good way to say it. Yes, Mr. 10, Oxygen did beat Power. I already talked about that series. I don't know if you want to go back and watch the VOD. It was a close one in a lot of ways. I think Power played well. I broke down a really good passing play from Power, but Oxygen was clearly the better team. Even if it had went to Game 7, I think Oxygen would have won. But yeah. Oh, my headphones are dying. So, really quick, I'm just gonna plug them in. go through? They do. Yep. Power is still in it. And especially, oh wait, we're getting sidetracked again. I get sidetracked very easily. But the good thing for Power is because they won 2 games on Oxygen, it almost negates the fact that they lost to Oxygen because now they get to play Valiant. And no offense to Valiant, but Power, this is like their best chance to win. Like they have a very high, like over 99.9% chance of beating Valiant in the series. Even if they dropped a game, which is very unlikely, they will win the series. So Power is going to be 1-1, and a lot of teams are going to be 1-1, and Power could easily win that one and then go and be 2-1. And I guess what I'm saying is Power still is very much in the mix to make it. I think they're the best team here out of the losses, besides maybe Team Secret, but they're still in the mix. Yeah, OC is falling behind a bit. If a team's going to make it out, it'll be Power. I'm just going to say it right now. Kansas City Pioneers is not making it out of Wildcard. After today, I've kind of lost confidence. Power, I still have confidence. Like, this series was enough to inspire confidence that they still got it. And I know it's only a 1-game difference, but, like, I don't know what to tell you, man. If this one game where they won in overtime was so sketchy, they could have lost it. It could have been a sweep. That I just don't have faith in KCP. They lost 13 goals to 3 across the entire series. Whereas with Power, the goal differential is so much closer. So much closer. All right. Enough about Power. Back to G1 Elevate. I do think G1 is the favored. But the fact that Elevate has like a 40%, maybe 60-40, so like 40% chance that Elevate wins, it's close. It's as close as it's ever been, I think, for an APAC team to be favored, especially against a European team. So we'll see how it goes. I think Elevate could win, and if they do, I'll go nuts. Everyone will go nuts. That'll be a lot of fun. So we'll see how it goes. G1 needs to win though. This is a must win for G1. If they lose this, their mental is going to be so bad that they might lose to they could go 0-3. I don't think they will, but if they lose to Elevate, it's in the cards that they could go 0-3, and that's going to affect their mental so bad. So we'll see how it goes. All right, moving right along. What time is it? All right, we still got some time. By the way, about half an hour left on the stream before I probably end it. So we have time to finish off. And let's see here. Moist Gladiators. It was a sweep. I didn't watch this, but I haven't really looked at it. The scores, I mean. So this is my first time really looking at it. Let me set up stream a little bit better. All right. So I do like this Moist squad. I think they're one of the best 2 teams in the wild card. So this didn't really give us a lot of data. I think Gaming Gladiators actually played it a little bit closer than I was expecting. And the reason why is although only 1 game, 2 games were close. Although only 1 game went to OT, the fact that it was the last game, the last games are harder to win. But my point being is usually a team like Gaming Gladiators would start off strong against Moist, and then Moist would figure them out. But that's not what happened. It's kind of like the inverse. It's like Moist started strong, and then Gladiators pulled it back in, which is a good sign. Like, even though it was a sweep, and some of these games were blowouts, it's good for Gaming Gladiators that they didn't get blown out the whole way. They pulled it back, and in the end, they almost won in overtime. So let's watch that. Let's watch the overtime.
You could win. Are Moist meeting your expectations?
Skip a bit ahead.
So good at the spring major, and then
did I pick the wrong game?
Can Juicy step up for this team? Because if he can, Moist could not only make it out last off again.
I'll just skip ahead a bit.
Fake backside, back them here for their offense.
LCT did play well. That's a good shout. Oh, Gladiators had the lead at one point. I am gonna skip though.
Gladiators.
They could have won. They could have won.
Back for boost and
OSM using all of his boost. Maxu trying to throw this one downfield. 10 seconds left.
Gladiators go 0-1-2-3, so they try.
Can't. And you don't want to give Joya the last laugh here as
I don't know what you mean, but they definitely are like go team on offense. Oh wow, wait, they almost won. Wow, going into OT. Okay. So let's see how many chances. Oh, I'll close this out. How many chances, like genuine chances, did Gladiators have shooting on the net? Because I'm sure it is a lot, but or not a lot, but I'm sure there was at least some. Wait, let me make this quieter.
Relax too much. Gladiators already had their net attacked right off a
Okay, it's a lot of Moist offense to start the OT.
For Gladiators in favor of Moist, but so much freedom for Moist. Back wall protected there by OSM, but the ball conceded.
This is interesting. So a lot of offense for Moist. Oh wow. Okay, it should have been over right there. Wow. Wait. I mean, I'm not gonna just like glorify this miss here, but I mean, it's just an open net miss from Cash. He wasn't even rushed. Okay, so anything, I hate this because now anytime I'm like, oh look, Gladiators could have scored, it should have been over anyway. So that's a really big whiff. Now obviously, just spoiler, because we just talked about it, they swept him, so that miss didn't matter. But that's a pretty uncharacteristic miss from Cash. So interesting. Okay, so I can see it. After that miss by Cash, Moist got chaotic, and so Gladiators thrive on chaos. So I have a feeling the rest of this overteam is just going to be a chaotic mess that either team could have won, and it all starts with a Cash miss. So that's interesting. It really set up this overtime. They could have went either way. Okay, Choyo. Oh, he loses it. Oh, that's a really good by Maxu. It's a good play. LCT, what's he got? That's it. Okay. Nothing happened. It went the other way. This was the moment that if Gladiators were going to win this overtime, they would have. Let's see what chat's up to. Start bad and had to catch up. Yep, a 0-5 game 1 loss is just bad for Gladiators, so they kind of were out of it since then. And if you mean the overtime, also, yes, they had a tough time in this overtime at the start. Yeah, I think he could have had a better 50 there. Oh, and is this how they concede? Maxu, bad touch. LCT's in an awkward spot. But Cash, he just passes it. Oh, it's a whiff. Is it? So Cash gets it back. You know, because he had a whiff, and then OSM has a whiff. Yeah. Okay, you know what? This was a bad game to break down. What an awkward OT to break down. But that just goes to show you that everybody's human, even the pros. Cash had a miss. OSM had a miss. It happens. It happens. And it kind of is like karma, like, you know, Cash had an uncharacteristic miss. Well, there we go. They get one back. So no big deal on either side. I think Gladiators would have loved to have a game. And the reason why is they're playing Team Secret. If they hadn't gotten a game win, instead, let's see. Instead, they'd be playing G1. Huge difference. So even though, like I'm saying, no big deal, I think Gladiators are kicking themselves for not winning a game. Because in Wildcard, that game literally changed their life. Like, now they have to play Team Secret, who it's not like Gladiators have 0%, but like, I mean, Team Secret has like a 90% or more chance of winning that. Like, Team Secret's the heavy favorite. So Gladiators just gave themselves a really tough time by not taking that game. So, disappointing. G2, overconfidence. I don't know, man. I mean, I get what you're saying. It is a sweep, and it's a lot of goals, and maybe that gets them too much. But I think it's better. I think that should just leave them mellowed out. I don't think they're going to be overly hyped, overly confident going into and actually, a good shout is they're playing Team Space Station, a team they've already played. So it's not a huge deal. If they were playing a non-North American team, it would have been a bigger deal, maybe being overconfident. But there's no way they're overconfident against another North American squad. And Limitless KCP, yes. I explained it a little bit before, but I'll go over this again. Both these teams got lucky. They got lucky to play each other. Limitless is lucky, and KCP is lucky. Majorly lucked out. Truly majorly lucked out here. So, it's like Limitless got the most underperforming OCE squad we've seen in a while, and KCP could do well, but they're definitely looking the weakest they have. And then on the flip side for KCP, even though they looked weak and they had a bad series against Twisted Minds, they get rewarded with Limitless. So both teams got lucky. All right, moving right back to what were we talking about? Oh yeah, Gladiators Moist, and then Team Secret Gladiators. So yeah, that's pretty much all there is to this series. A little shaky at the end there, but Moist played well. It's just a solid expected performance from them. Gladiators maybe a little bit better than expected, but not really much. And I expect them to lose to Team Secret, but maybe they put up a fight. On the other hand, Moist should win against Twisted Minds, but despite going 4-0, this is kind of not as good a match as maybe they hoped. Although all 8 of these teams are tough, so it's not like they could have gotten an easy match. Maybe this is the easiest. We don't know for sure. Maybe G2 is the easiest, but they definitely, it's not like they're playing complexity or anything, so it's not that crazy. I think they're favored, but Twisted Minds still could pull it out. Your bracket's already wrong. You know, funnily enough, I had all 8 of these correct. Not the series scores, but I had the outcome, like the winner of each series correct. It's not going to stay that way. It will not stay that way. It's already mixed up because I had the wrong series scores, so. All right. When does NRG play? Yeah, rip. Rip NRG. All right. Next up, we'll try and wrap this up real quick. Next up is SSG and Team Secret. I think this was the best series of the day. If you're going to watch one series in full, watch this one. Hoxer played amazing, but Team Secret played well as well. KB1 had some pop-off series. We haven't done it much, but let's look on Octane, a gift for this series, because it was just a good series, and I want to see what the stats looked like. I'm going to have to look this way to the World Championship matches. Okay. Let's look at the stats here. So, interestingly, Hoxer was the best player on Space Station, and it wasn't just an eye test thing. Like, he stats-wise was the best. I'm not that surprised by it. In my spring major prediction, I had Hoxer higher than LJ, but a lot of people rate LJ over Hoxer. So, it's interesting to see Hoxer outperform him. Meanwhile, on the other side, KV1 actually had a weak performance. Again, stats aren't everything, but weak performance. Yeah, after a prediction. Oh, good idea. I will predict for tomorrow. I should. And then we got Knight, Sad. Sad was the best player. A little surprising for me, but, I mean, that makes sense. The ratings over here. So you can see LJ and Hawks are not that far apart in rating despite the score difference just because of stats. And meanwhile, Sad was a decent rating above his teammates. And KV1 was the weakest player statistically out of the 6. That's interesting. Just because I realize I'm need to end this a little earlier than 10:30. Let's not watch, but I'm not going to watch any of the highlights of this, but that's a perfect excuse to go watch this series yourself if you haven't, because it is perfect. No, I'm not. Thanks, Vinny, for asking, but I'm not going to Worlds. So I will potentially stream later on. I've announced I'm going to stream some of the wildcards watch parties, but maybe I'll stream main events or probably playoffs for sure the last day, and probably that Saturday. But I'm not going to be able to stream much of group stage if it's during the work week. But I'll announce that later on. But I'm not going. I'm going to be home the whole time because I'm in the U.S. and traveling to Germany was not in the cards. But all right, watch this back though. Watch this Space Station Secret series. It was just an incredible series, the best series of the day. All right, next up, last but not least, I should say, is Elevate Falcons. This was a pretty much a stomp by Falcons. Not like a complete stomp, but there was almost no points where Elevate looked better. I don't think there was any points. I don't know if Elevate had a lead, but I don't think they ever did. I think it was either tied or Falcons was leading, and they just looked solid. I actually think this does give us a lot of info on Falcons because I'm rating Elevate quite highly after their spring major, as high as you can rate a team that lost both their series at the spring major. But, you know, I think this is the best Elevate has ever looked. So a sweep is good from Falcons. It's good showing that they can, finish the job solidly and not have to worry about game differential. And they got rewarded with Crew. A tough matchup, but again, it's better than playing Complexity or Moist. So now they're going to face Crew. We'll see how they do. I do think Falcons are favored, but it's pretty close to 50-50. Meanwhile, on the other side, I've already talked about this, G1 Elevate. This could be Elevate's game, but they're still the underdogs. But it could be their game. Any specifics in this series? There's nothing really specific to point out. It looks like this game was the closest. They had 2 1-goal games, I should say, game 1 and game 3. I'm glad not every game was a runaway. A lot of close games. Only the last game was a 4-goal game. I'm assuming it's because Elevate started to play riskier towards the end of that game. But yeah, solid series from Falcons, and at least Elevate didn't completely crumble. It wasn't as bad as the Limitless goal fest. So we'll see if Elevate can bounce back. And actually, I should note, to be important, I mean, Elevate was forced to play Falcons. Unlike every other team in the upper 8 of the wild card that got to pick, Elevate didn't actually get to pick. They were forced to play Falcons. So I don't think this is going to hurt Elevate as much as, for example, it hurts KCP for picking. Like, what was the order of picking? I mean, look at here. Kansas City Pioneers were the 4th team, and they drafted Twisted Minds over G1. That's got to hurt them, like, mentally, knowing that they picked the wrong team, potentially. Whereas Elevate didn't, they didn't pick Falcons, they were forced to play Falcons. So I doubt it hurts their mental. But yeah. Oh yeah, it will be. That's what I'm saying. It definitely will be the G1. All right. We got 10 minutes. I don't think my predictions for the rest will be right now. I will make, after wildcard, a follow-up prediction for the rest, but in that like day off break. But there's going to be a video that comes out either tomorrow or tonight, but it's not going to be predictions. It's going to be a recap and some news. Not a very brief recap. More it's another flash news. Anyway, all right. Where was I going with that? I'm going to make predictions right now. I don't have a spreadsheet ready. All right, 1 second. I'm going to pull up a quick spreadsheet just so we can do this the right way. There we go. All right. Hey guys, a close-up camera. I'm doing this, by the way, so you don't see my Google Drive. There's nothing crazy on there. I just don't want my Google account leaked in any way. Let's see. Did I not do... Oh, there it is. Okay. All right. Okay, so this was my old predictions. Let me just wipe this real quick and fix it. So I predicted wrong. I thought they were best of 5s. My bad. But as you can see, I got all these right. Like, I really did. Not the series score, but I did get the winners all correct. Okay, now let's do this. There's going to be random numbers filled in for the rest of the bracket. Whoops. Just ignore that. All right. Here we go. This should be all the correct matchups. And now let's quickly predict. I just realized I have chat closed now. Let me open chat back up. Okay. Let me know if it's... I think it's working. Yes, it's working. Perfect. Okay. Hello. Pro better like this. I don't know what you mean, project channel, but yes, I'm still going. All right. Let's finish this up. Okay. Complexity, Oxygen. Definitely favors Complexity. Wait, is this the matchup? Am I crazy? They are playing them. Okay. 4-2. I do think Oxygen could take this to a Game 7, but especially after how the day went, I don't know if we'll be seeing any Game 7s soon. Meanwhile, G2 Space Station. I favor Space Station. Pretty clear. Actually, I'll make it a 4-1. I do think G1 could do better than I'm saying they will, but I just see Space Station as the favorite here. Next up, I think this is pretty clear, Moist, but I'll give Twisted Minds a couple games. and then Falcons Crew. Closest one yet, but as I've already said, I favor Falcons. All right. Really quickly, next up, yep, SSG on top. Next up, Power Valiant. This is going to be another pretty easy series for Power. It's good on them that they, earned it with their 2 games over Oxygen. And then Secret, after Gaiman's series against Moist, I expect probably another sweep. I'll call it another sweep. It could easily be a game, but we'll see. I don't think Secret will be as sloppy as Moist got at the end. Next up, Pioneers Limitless. I want to be spicy, but I won't. It's probably going to be Power. But this could be Limitless as a game, for sure. In fact, I won't say more. I'll say a game. It could be more than a game, though. I'm very confident they'll take a game, though. I feel pretty good they'll take at least one game. And then next up, G1 Elevate. I'm going to do it. I am going to favor G1, but I'm going to call this a Game 7, and it could go. It could go all the way to Game 7, so we'll see what happens. All right. If you lose round 2, are you eliminated? Nope. You go into round 3, 0-2. You have to get 3 losses to be eliminated or 3 wins to make it out. This whole thing filled in is from before, so don't look at this. This is not my predictions. It gets it all wrong. Not all wrong, but it gets a lot of it wrong. All right. Actually, though, I will look at what these follow-ups are. So, I'll go the whole way. I'll go the whole way real quick. What time is it? We have time. Wow, we lost some viewers. That's all right. We got through the important stuff. So, let's finish this off. I'm going to start talking less, though, because these are just going to be more of my thoughts. I think that's Complexity. I've already talked about how these are the 2 best teams. So I feel pretty confident about Moist and Complexity taking it, especially after they, took care of business today. Then we got follow-ups. All right, I'm not even talking, I realize, but this is just my thoughts. I think a lot of these are pretty clear, besides this one's a little less clear. Elevate, gonna be a sweep, and then we'll give them 2 games, but we'll still give it to Gaming Gladiators. I will say I'm a lot lower on Limitless after they did so poorly against G2. It didn't show us much about G2, but it kind of did show, I think, a bit about Limitless. So. And let's keep going. I'm sorry these are all filled in. I should have had this prepped, but I didn't. I forgot I was going to be predicting. All right. Enough about that. SSG Oxygen. This one's close, but I'd favor Space Station. And then, oh, wow. The Mina on Mina matchup. I know Twisted Minds did better in spring, but I think LAN is Falcons' domain, so I'd favor Falcons. And then Crew. That's Crew pretty clear. I know the odds say they favor G2, but I'd favor Crew. Let's keep going. Pretty clear Power, and then pretty clear Secret. And then, wow, I think Pioneers got lucky here. I think they can take it. The fact, if they get 2 wins, that's kind of, it's not a scam, but that's nuts. It's just because they're playing G1. I'll say that. Then let's do this. Wow. See, I would have had both these teams, but if this is the way it works, then one of them ends up missing just because of the game diff. So, I'm going to call it, I think, Twisted Minds. I think G2 pulls it off against Power, but this could easily go Power's way. And then this one's pretty clear. All right. So this is what we end up with. A decent wild card. I won't go through the rest of it because I'll do that after wild card's actually done. But this would be my predictions based off today about how the rest of wild card will go. They need the bottle flip buff. They do. If they have the bottle flip, if they make the bottle flip in this series, they'll beat Pioneers. So Rip OCG instead. Yeah, I see. Rip. Yeah. Sorry, I missed some of the comments during this. But yeah. So yeah, no one's going to get eliminated tomorrow. Everyone will still be in it going into the very next day because you'll just have 2 losses. And that's it. So then the very last thing before I close up is I'm quickly going to touch on... Well, I'm not logged in, so I won't touch on Pick Stop. But Pick Stop is... my Pick Stop bracket's going well so far because nothing I thought was going to happen has not happened. And then Fantasy, which I am logged in, I can show you exactly what's happening. I briefly showed this earlier, but things are going well. Trofino, decent. Could be better, but I think he will get better as the event goes on. Senzo, better than I expected, and I'm happy because I picked him on purpose, and I'm glad he's living up to what I thought. Turk, maybe I should have actually put him in assists, but we'll see later in midfield. And then Realize kind of had a poor performance, but I think he could bounce back, and we'll see how it goes, especially because as we go on, he's going to get easier competition. So I expect Realize to have a better average, and I realize it is per game, so it doesn't matter how many games they end up playing, it's per game at the end of it all. And then if we look at the league, there's very few teams that ended up joining the league. But that's all right. I did post the league in the comments of the video. I don't know if many people noticed because I didn't mention it in the video. The second team is probably doing better than me because they only have 3 players and they're almost at my level of points. So they're doing quite well. They have 2 of the same players, but Ocalid is insane right now. Good stats on Ocalid. Meanwhile, the third team only had 1 player play. AJG did decent. So not a lot to go for. All right. And that does it. So let me zoom in again. That's it for this stream. Thanks everybody for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did and you happen to be watching and you aren't subscribed, I would incredibly appreciate it if you do subscribe. It's the easiest way to help the channel. It's completely free. But other than that, yeah, that's pretty much it. Can I join? Yes, you can. Go back to the project channel, by the way. Go back to the video. I forget the title, but it's my fan RL, my fantasy predictions video. And it's somewhere in the description or in the comments. I don't know if you can join now, but for future events, definitely join the league. And yeah, tomorrow I'm not streaming Foodie, but the weekend on Saturday I will do a watch party. So tomorrow I can't stream, but I will be doing a watch party on Saturday and Sunday. The last 2 days, yes, the last 2 days of Wildcard. So watch out for that, and also watch out for a video in the meantime. They did close it. Oh, maybe you can't join at all. If they close it, I'm sorry. But next time I'll post it and I'll be more proactive about getting people into it. But yeah. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. Like I said, if you enjoyed it, I hope you did. If you did enjoy it, please like and subscribe. I really appreciate all the support. It's actually crazy how fast the channel's grown, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, I'll see you guys next time, which will be Saturday. See you then.